Hopping in the 780, I'm gonna get the corn head off. Corn head is done and ready to be set off. We're gonna put the corn head up. There's a barn. We got the grain cart up there now. Hoping the two bean heads and the corn head fit with the grain cart in one barn. It's adult Jingo, we're gonna see. Probably not gonna get that today, but we're working that direction. We like to get the harvest stuff off. I'm ready to focus on planters. Just gonna kind of get lined up. We've got the skid steer hooked to the corn head trailer. We usually just fold and go down the road, this folding head. But if we go real far, we'll put it on the trailer. I like to store it on there. I usually just leave it unfolded, snouts up to store. So what we're aiming for, we can see there's a leg right there and two stands that are similar to the bean head trailer, and those, I just have to get those lined up. Now before this corn head, we had a gearing off non-folding head, and we took it off each time. That adds up over the course of a season. He's going to back the trailer up a little bit. This leg sets right here. And you can see stalk stompers. We took this one off. They get in the way when we're putting it on the trailer, so we typically leave some off. Now going down the road, we don't have to. It folds, actually the junction's right there, the hinge. So this normally folds up, but they just ride on there. Corn head and bean head use the same trailer, they just adjust the mounting points. Corn head that sits across the main bar and the two legs. Now this is a 42-foot trailer. We bought it at an auction. You only need 30 for the corn head, but we got a deal on it, so we just put it on the 42-foot we had. Corn head's all set. When we go to pick it up next season, there's a few little things we're going to do to it, but overall we are ready to go. Back, so the angle's wrong. Shop's not been empty for a while. We're going to go out here to the barn. My fore aft has got a sensor and it won't let me set my corn head off. So we're going to move past that for a moment. We're going to go out here to the barn. We're going to get our 380 off the disc and get it moved towards our Kinze 4900 corn planter. Been charging the Hagie. It wouldn't start the other day, so we're going to see if it starts now. We've got a 2019 Hagie STS12 that we run. Well, here we go. We've been out here before, but fingers crossed is this going to start. We're going to see. Fingers crossed. Oh, that wasn't bad. Fired right up. Well, you know, we'll take it. Now we've got John Deere 2630. It come with it. And we've got NORAC boom control. We got this thing in 2021, and it was a 2019, so it's been a good one. says we got low fuel. I don't doubt that. Now I've got a watch. I actually set high enough that I could bump the auger. Getting close to the barn. Kind of a tight fit. Now Hagie doesn't have a brake pedal. Our first Hagie was a 2010, and they got here with it, and I went to unload it, and I backed it off the trailer, and the right rear fell off the edge of the trailer. I went for the brake pedal. There isn't one. That's when I learned there was no brake pedal on the Hagie. The only slow down you have is via your handle. You get back pressure when you back off, and you also have to watch pulling back too fast. It's a little temperamental. Hagie's kind of its own animal to drive, and I know we really like it. We get a lot of work done with it. Now we've got easy drops that we use for liquid 28, and we put them on every row, 60 foot, no, every other row, 60 foot wide. So this makes a nice side dresser. And then we're spraying. I can spray 18 miles an hour, 120 foot wide. Real common, I run 15, so get a lot of work done with that. Okay, next victim. 380 will start. Brand new 380. You gonna get in there and pop the cherry? Oh, dude, it's nice.
I gotta get a video too.
Getting our 380 out. We're going to put it on the corn planer this year. We were pulling the corn planer with our Challenger. It's a 645D. This is a big upgrade. 4900 is going in the shop. We've got some things to go over, but nothing big. We know our rebuild cycles, and luckily this is an easy year for rebuilds. Getting used to the new tractor. We ran this high-speed disc in the fall, and that's a first for us. I think that's going to be helpful if it's a wetter spring, usually. Seemed like it did a real good job. We had a turbo till, but typically in the fall it didn't want to go in the ground real well. I mean, this thing's a different animal compared to it. Now this is more of it's a high-speed disc and not vertical tillage, but I've been walking around everywhere looking for the jack, and it got put back on this time. That's just rare. Normally they're not on. So in my defense, they're normally laying somewhere we don't know. So we're going to put the jack on this. We're going to take pictures, just so when we hook it back up, we can just plug the lines back in. I don't know if this will start. We've got 3 of these Challenger 645Ds. Oh, they've been deleted and turned to the high horsepower setting. I believe it's an 8.7 size suit. I'm trying to think what that motor size is, but or an 8.3. Anyway, it's real common, so they have that in a 240 horse tractor. They also have it in a 370 horse tractor. So you can turn those up to the higher setting and put weights on, and the tractors are very similar. So we bought the 645Ds because they were cheaper. They're set at 240 horse. We got them with the lights, all the emissions are acting up, so you have to go through that. But after that, these things run a long time. So a lot of tractor for cheap. It's kind of an issue we had there for a year, so we got 3 of these. Challenger's a little different. have what they call a pedal mode. You can put it on, and when you touch the pedal, the tractor just moves. It's real handy. When you're backing up, inching, let's see, you can let off the pedal, it stops. CVT transmission, continuously variable transmission. Is a real nice setup on these tractors. We first had a CVT 2012. We first had a CVT in 2012. It was a Case, and man, we like the CVTs. Getting our 4900 Kinze. It's our corn planer out of the barn. Now it runs off PTO pump. I was talking to Brian. He's going to look into it. This Case has plenty of power to run this without having a PTO pump. These aren't bad, but they're just kind of a pill to mount. That's probably the worst part about this planer. Rest of it's pretty easy to work on overall. We'll get in the shop and we'll be going through it. I'll show you guys all about this thing. We like our Kinzes. Now we just pick it up on the hitch. It's just got a 2-point. And I like the 2-point setups. We're not hooked yet, but this is our corn planting setup for 2025. We should be good for 6 to 8 miles an hour with the meters we have in. We do strip till in the spring, so we're going to have a nice mellow seed bed. Shouldn't be any issues. Can't wait to see this thing run in the field. Well, the shop's looking better. We're gaining. It's about time we see planters and not combines, though. We're going to work on that.
Question mark, question mark.
Alt-delete! It died! What did I do? The whole thing just died. Like dead in the water. Let's see if it restart. So our Case 380, it's dead as a doornail. Don't know what happened. We'll look into it later if we can get the planer hooked up. We're going to start doing the fluids and the service on the Hagie. First things we're going to do is the final drives. So there's 3 plugs, and this needs to rotate around. But you fill to this plug. And as soon as it runs out, when this line is level, you're full. But you drain out of one, fill in one, and check your level at the other. Now we have those 4 to do. We're going to have a series of filters: engine oil, hydraulic oil filter, fuel filter, all the air filters, cab filters. They run a charcoal filter, and also the cabin on the Hagie is pressurized. It's got a HEPA filter here on the side, and the cabin on the Hagie is positive pressure, so any kind of a spray, anything it's constantly pushing pressure out of the cab. Sorry about moving the camera. It's pushing pressure, so it's not sucking air in with it having a positive pressure. When you shut the door, you feel that. You can feel it pressurized when you start it, so that's a positive. The boom being in the front, you got to have that because the chemical gets on the machine. That's the negatives to the Hagie. The positives, look behind me, ground clearance with the floats on even. I'm 6 foot, so right there. The floats lower it some. They made a float that was a little taller, like my tall, skinny tires, but it was too expensive at the time. We stuck with the smaller ones. Hopefully next time we get the bigger ones, but it all works out. Well, we're going to start changing these oils, show you what that's all about. We'll have to move the machine multiple times to get these to line up. Like that one's got to be backed up. This one's close. So if I back up a little bit and I get this line level, I can drain here, I can refill here, and with this out, when it's level and oil runs out, that's when I know I'm full. So we're going to get right to that.
We're going to back up and get this perfect. Nice and level.
They put the radiator in the front on these Hagies, and they do that to keep the foreign debris from getting up on the radiator. You can hear the reversing fan running. It actually sucks air in, but it also blows it back out to keep this clean. We'll hop in here. We're going to see where the engine hours are on this thing. There. Engine hours were at 1881. Okay. So we changed the oil seasonally, and I believe the book calls for 250 or 300 hours. We put right at 300, possibly 325 a year on our Hagie. But we'll get the numbers off that. We entered in OneNote to keep track of everything. We got a little way of documenting our equipment hours and maintenance schedules, so hopefully automate that at some point, but for now we just kind of take notes in one area. Okay, here's a quick review. These are the filters that we're changing. Has all the part numbers. But this is an annual thing. A couple of these filters we do semi-annual, but it's got all the part numbers and everything right there. Brandon's getting it set up. So you can see we've moved to the level. And he's going to start draining right here. We'll fill at this one, and we'll fill until it hits this. When it runs out, that's when we're full. Now those are kind of a pain to get. They're Allen plug. They're easy to round out, so we usually clean them out, hammer them in real good. Well, I set you guys down, I couldn't find you. So now we're back. We're getting ready to pop the hood on the Hagie. We've got the hub oils all done. We're going to pull the oil filter, just do a general inspection in the engine compartment. Fuel filters, engine oil filter, hydraulic filters. It's got an air dryer filter. It's also got a breather up here on the hydraulic tank. Opens up real nice. It's a 19, so it's got a lot of the emission stuff, but it runs good. 6.8 Deere. Now this was the first year for the John Deere motor in the Hagies. John Deere acquired Hagie, I believe, in 2018. So we got one powered by Deere. It's first year for it. Yeah, we're a little messy here. This breather, I've got a new one of those. We did this last year. Anyway, we're going to go through all this. This is our hydraulic oil tank. Changed it the year before, so we're not changing it this year. We will change it next year. Just going to do the filter. Filter's in here. You just unscrew this. It's in the tank. Try the motor. Inspect our belts and things like that. Not bad to get to. You can see where our radiator's in the front there. Now a Hagie, if you're looking at used ones, I always like to see a lot of grease around the legs. Means the guy's been greasing it. So we have a grease fitting here, and then we have a bank here with 4 fittings. The dailies are your legs here, because this is moving up and down, and your towers, where they move up and down here. those are your high wear points on a sprayer. That hammering in and out right there, that's your suspension. If you follow that to the top, this chrome rod here, it's on that airbag, and you can kind of see how the suspension works. More travel than a monster truck. Well, I don't know. Maybe not. Now, the time I unloaded our 2010, it got here. We had an equipment hauler. And I was backing off the back, and like I said, I go for the brake pedal, and there is no brake pedal in a Hagie. And I know 35 mile an hour doesn't sound fast, but I promise it's real fast in this thing. And that's what we top out at, 35 mile an hour on the road, and that's booking. Now, it's got a safety feature. It doesn't allow you to run it loaded on the road. Now, we bypass that, but I still don't run the extreme speeds. Well, 27 usually about top speed if I'm loaded. But unloaded, 35 is attainable with this sprayer, so that gets you there and back pretty quick. Now, when you get to the field, it's common for me to run 12 miles an hour, 15, but if it's go time, 18 is a capable. 20, I've ran 20 miles an hour, but to me that's too fast for what we're doing. And it's beepers going off in the machine. I mean, you're just pulling the guts out of it at 20 mile an hour, let's be honest. So live a long time at that 12 to 15 miles an hour. It's nice when you slow down, your coverage is a little better. We ran into that a few years ago. We were down on capacity with the old one, and you can't really make up for that with ground speed. Plumbing up some 3-inch fork fittings. Brian's working on getting a 3-inch pump in our tanker. Now, our tanker is just a 1974. It's a stainless, 7,400 gallon, I believe. And we haul liquid 28 and also water for the sprayer in it. Now, typically it sits here in the driveway as a nurse tank. So our main sprayer rigs are our van here. And it's got 4,000 gallons of water and all our chemicals shuttles on board. It's got a pump mounted here to the side. When it runs out, 4,000 gallons, you can pull in to this 7,000 some gallons and refill. Now, we had a 2-inch pump, so the refill time just wasn't quite fast enough. We also, for the first time, ran liquid 28 last year, and 2-inch pump's just not going to cut it, so 3-inch it is. Now, when he got started, the dead man valve, which is here, has a butterfly, and it was only maybe a third of the way open. So we were 2-inch pump and a third of the way open. We're going to not know what to do with this new Harbor Freight Predator 3-inch pump. Having fun with 3-inch fittings? Figure he loved it. Now, I had an adventure yesterday at Rural King. He had to get all this 3-inch hose. Interesting enough, it wouldn't seem a problem, but when we're having that hose, you don't want to have it, that hose any longer than you have to. When you have to drag a 3-inch hose full of liquid, you don't want any longer than you have to have it. The 2-inch stuff's pretty heavy, but 3-inch is just unmanageable if you get too long. So he's kind of figured out a happy medium there. They make hose reels and different things, but there's just a lot of things. It's just expensive. So just thinking about ideas on how we can speed that process up. Brennan noticed a hydraulic leak. He went to move this hose, and there's an O-ring on the fitting right here. That's just like this one. But this fitting was loose. So usually they blow O-rings. This thing's got a lot of them. Now I seen another leak, but it's our cylinder up here. That's only when you fold and unfold it, but it's leaking a little bit. May have to look into that. We're getting ready to change the oil in it. Drop this back cover here, and we just pull the drain plug in the corner there, right here. You can see where it has a little indentation. I pulled the key and killed the battery. Now, when we kill the battery on this, it's just right up here. Kill the power. Has so many little electronics running that you can run your battery down like phantom loss, so always kill the battery. It's on that knob on there, and on a combine, it's right here on the side. Oh no. Let's try not to get any on you, but I'm about. It should pull off there. It'll have some oil in it. Okay, now we'll want to, as soon as that gets done draining, we'll pull that off and we'll inspect the O-ring. All these little things. There's O-rings on plugs. Anytime you see a leak, you know to check for O-rings or fittings loose. Sometimes just one of these little fittings will loosen up, or the packing nut, and you can just tighten it. But usually if that packing nut's loose, the O-ring's out. Now we'll inspect our legs, then you tighten them here, and we'll check the torque on those. Now this is one of those rare situations. This hose had tension when they tightened it, and I think that's caused our nut to loosen, and maybe our O-ring's okay. Don't like to pull this thing, but if we don't, and it's an O-ring, we want to replace it now and not when I'm out in the field. He's getting ready to get it. I'm hoping he doesn't get an oil shower. He is too. Let's see that O-ring. We're going to inspect it, but it looks okay. I'll get you a rag. That's going to be okay, guys, but we're going to look at it a little closer. Brendan's spinning on a new air dryer filter. With the 4 airbags, Hagie uses a lot of air. So that's just like a semi. Same setup. He had to take some bolts out. Not too bad to get to. Here's our pumps. They're in tandem right off the motor. Motor's right behind us there. We're going to inspect around all these lines, anywhere we see any kind of a wet area, which I don't see any. We'll put a wrench on there and check. Check for O-rings or loose fittings. Things like that. Heads on the trailer. We've got a few little things to touch up on it, but it was good to come off. And see, we have to take stalk stumps off just on those rows. Not bad. But this is how we store our corn head. They've loosened up the child labor laws, so I get some sweeping today. Free sweeping. Well, probably not free. Thanks, partner. Thanks for coming to help. Wow. What a difference a few days in the shop makes. Everything's going forward. It's Friday evening. We're shutting down. Put a fork in it. We're done, guys. See you Monday.